What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, courtesy of Sioka Subaru in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So today we're in the new Crosstrek because this has the best all-wheel drive system in existence. This is an all-wheel drive system that was originally made for rally racing on the dirt and the snow, and now it's in the Subaru Crosstrek, so that's quite wonderful. Also, excellent resale value. That is what Subaru is known for as well, in case you were curious. This one is going to be competing with the Mazda CX-30, Chevy Trax, and Volkswagen Taos, just to name a few. So ultimately in this video, we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so, as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2025 Crosstrek. First one being the base, starting at $25,695, which is a kind of modest $700 bump from the 2024 model year. Premium for $26,945. Sport, which is the one we are in today, starting at $29,495. Limited for $31,395. And lastly, the Wilderness, which is the one I reviewed last year, starting at $32,495. But as you can imagine, with all of those trim levels, there are actually two different power plans for the Crosstrek. The first power plant only belongs to that bottom base trim level. That one is powered by a 2-liter horizontally opposed Subaru Boxer engine, putting out 152 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 145 pound-feet of torque coming in at 4,000 RPM. That power being sent to all four wheels through a Lineartronic CVT. 0 to 60 time for that base trim level, 9 seconds flat, with MPG numbers coming in at 27 in the city, 34, that's pretty good, on the highway, taking regular unleaded fuel. But so then there is that other engine configuration, of course, belonging to all of the other trim levels, and the one that we have today, that one is powered by a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder Boxer engine, putting out 182 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, 178 pound-feet of torque coming in at 3,700 RPM, power sent to all four wheels, again through Subaru's legendary symmetrical all-wheel drive system, power sent to the ground through a CVT. 0 to 60 time for this one, 1.5 seconds quicker, coming in at 7.5 seconds, with MPG numbers coming in at 26 in the city, 35 on the highway, again taking regular unleaded fuel. And the cool thing about this engine is last year, the premium trim level actually got that base engine, the first one I mentioned, but for 2025 now gets the more powerful engine if you were looking at the premium trim level. So just wanted to mention that. But before we do any kind of fun acceleration or paddle shifter test here in the Crosstrek, because there are paddle shifters, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. What Subaru calls that is SI drive. It's most fun on the WRX, but who knows, it could be fun on the Crosstrek. But that is going to be located on this steering wheel, so that's going to display up on the gauges, essentially just adjust things like the shift points and the throttle response. But then on top of that, there is one more kind of setting for different drive modes found within the infotainment screen. That's going to be the X mode settings, and that gives you a couple off-road modes like snow and dirt and deep snow and mud as well. So now that I've got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find straight away. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly the paddle shifters with our CVT, so keep that in mind, but let's see how quickly they're going to react for us here. And also, just to mention, there is a full manual shift mode. I just slid the shifter all the way to the back and to the left. Let's see if it holds. Hey, it's holding. Sweet, let's go. It's okay. Now, this is a CVT, so sometimes CVTs with paddle shifters, they simulate an automatic pretty good. Now, I will say it's a little above average for that simulation, but you can definitely still tell it's a CVT. So for me personally, I probably wouldn't use the paddle shifters. They're kind of gimmicky because, again, this is a continuously variable transmission, but they do okay. I'll just put it that way. It's not too bad, but anywho, let's go ahead and find one more straightaway, and let's do a quick little acceleration test with the Crosstrek having full control, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Not bad. As far as that get up and go, that initial punch, it's okay. Yeah, that'll get the job done. It's not horrible. 0 to 60 is 7.5 seconds. That's plenty respectable for your average, you know, get up and go, point A to point B type of vehicle. So I don't have any issues with that. That's going to be plenty of an acceleration emerging onto any highway here in Pennsylvania at least. So yeah, that'll get the job done. But to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so up front, you will find 12.4-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 11.2-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at 140 feet, which is well below average. So that's not the best number. Typically, you want to look for the 120s and just point A to point B kind of vehicles. So 140 feet is not the best, but that is probably the first thing I noticed when I first started driving this one. Is it's a very squishy braking feel. So not the biggest fan here. Maybe it differs with trim levels, but for our sport trim level, at least today, you would expect to find more of a sporty braking feel because of the name. A little firmer feel typically, but it's quite squishy. So it's probably something you get used to. It's probably not something that would bother me long term after you get used to it, but I prefer a bit firmer of a braking feel, just me personally. But anyways, then touching on suspension and handling. Up front, you're going to get an independent strut type front suspension. In the back, independent double wishbone type rear suspension, front and rear stabilizer bars. And for anybody curious when it comes to ground clearance, because Subaru does tend to ride a little bit higher, that comes in at 8.7 inches, which is definitely higher than most other vehicles in its class. So I like that. And typically with SUVs, you find anywhere from 8 inches to 8.4. So 8.7, it's a little bit better. So nothing wrong with that. So if you live on some backcountry roads and you got a rock gravel driveway or something like that, this will get the job done. So I like that. But anyways, touching on ride quality, it's actually pretty darn good. I have no issues whatsoever when it comes to ride quality. Definitely absorbing the road imperfections of Pennsylvania quite nicely, as I just got stopped by that guy because they filled a hole. What's up?
We just filled a hole in, just make sure you veer around it, okay?
Gotcha, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
it. Trust me, we got a lot of bad road imperfections here, so it's actually really, really good. It's above average, so I don't have any issues there. As far as steering feel goes, that's kind of above average as well. It's a little bit on the firmer side of things, but it's pretty on par for the course. It's not a loosey-goosey steering feel though, and that's kind of what I always worry about. So it's typically what you find in 3-row SUVs, but this is a nice steering feel. I like it. It kind of feels like, honestly, it kind of feels like the WRX. It's a little bit on the heavier side of things, so I like that. So as far as cabin noise goes, we're going 25 miles per hour right now. I'll let you guys be the judge of that through my road mic. I haven't had any issues in my short little test drive here today, so yeah, that's getting the job done. And touching on rear visibility, 100% on point. Definitely no issues there either. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2025 Subaru Crosstrek. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2025 Subaru Crosstrek, finished in ice silver metallic, in case you were curious of the exact exterior color name that we had with us here on this one today. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Crosstrek is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 4, indicating that the Crosstrek is built and assembled here in the US, in case you were curious. But starting up front, LED steering responsive headlights actually come on every single trim level across the board. So what that means is when you're going around a bend at night, those headlights are going to swivel based on the direction of your steering angle, better help illuminating what is around that bend. That's a safety feature typically found like optional on Mercedes-Benz and BMW. So the fact that it comes standard on all trims of the Crosstrek, that's pretty darn cool. But anyways, LED daytime running lights coming with those, automatic feature as well, along with automatic high beams. So if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams. And when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce it back up to high beams for you there. So definitely love that feature personally. LED fog lights coming on the premium trim level and up. You guys can see those down below. And you are going to find some gold accents found on the Sport and the Wilderness trim actually as well. So, and those accents, of course, do continue both inside and out. But anyways, that pretty much rounds out the front end of this one. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of the Crosstrek, starting up top there, raised roof rails do come on the premium trim level and up. Rear privacy glass does come standard across the board. Body colored door handles for the premium trim level and up, and yes, that does mean the base trim gets matte black door handles. Power adjustable side mirrors coming standard for all trim levels, of course. Matte black side mirrors for the base, dark gray side mirrors for the premium and limited, gloss black side mirrors for our sport trim level that we have with us here today, and then like a satin black finish for the Wilderness that I reviewed last year. So side mirrors are going to differ substantially dependent upon the trim level that you go with, so that's pretty cool. Also, you're going to find some badging found on the front doors for the trim level that you go with. So we got the sport badging. Wilderness trim is going to have their own separate designed badge, so that's kind of cool too. Then taking a look down at the wheel setup, 17-inch aluminum alloys for that base trim, 17-inch machine finished alloys for the premium, 18-inch aluminum alloys for the sport, 18-inch machined alloys for the limited, and lastly 17-inch matte black alloys for the Wilderness. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so now since we are around to the back of this one, all the way to the top, matte black shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. Just below that, rear window wiper affixed to the rear glass there. LED taillights do come standard on this one for all trim levels across the board. Got a little more trim level badging, of course, found on the tailgate there. And then just below it all, I wanted to mention for the Wilderness trim, kind of on the bottom matte black portion of the rear bumper, you will find some Subaru lettering etched into it. That's a pretty cool look. I saw it last year, but just below it all, there is a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. All right, so but now since we are around to the back of the Crosstrek, when it comes to opening that rear tailgate, it is a manual tailgate for all trim levels across the board. There's a button to unlock it on the key fob, but simply just use the rubberized button on the tailgate itself, and of course it will open up for you. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 19.9 cubic feet. If that was not enough space, there is a 60-40 split, meaning the rear seats do fold down, bumping that up to 54.7 cubic feet then. There is some cargo lighting found in that cargo area, of course. There's some grocery bag hooks. There are 4 tie-down anchors. There is a cargo cover if you go with the sport, limited, or Wilderness trim levels. And then if you were to lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you will find a spare tire, which you guys know I personally prefer. It's so much easier than the fix the flat in my opinion. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, that is going to come in at 36.5 inches. For reference, I'm an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the rear seats there. There's a rear center armrest with cup holders that comes on the premium trim level and up. Also with the premium trim level and up, dual rear USB charging ports. It's a USB-A and USB-C, so you got one of each. That's kind of nice, but unfortunately no rear ventilation. That is one I would have loved to have seen on the Crosstrek personally, but it's not that big of a vehicle. I guess you would make do. But then making our way up to the front seats, manually adjustable front seats for the base, premium, and sport trim levels, power adjustable front seats for the limited and Wilderness trims. Cloth seating can be found with the base, premium, and sport. Love the gold accents, by the way. That's pretty darn cool, at least on our sport trim level here. Leather seating for the limited, and then a StarTex upholstery for the Wilderness trim level. But also, if you wanted heated seats, we do have them with us here today. That comes on the sport trim level and up. So I should probably turn those on because it's like 34 degrees today. It is freezing, so that is definitely quite nice. Overall, as far as seat comfort goes, I actually sank into them. They're pretty darn comfortable seats for them being just, you know, cloth seats. So the fact that they're power adjustable, though, that definitely did help as well, help me find my perfect driving position. But it does get even better with the steering wheel. So especially if you're a tall individual, believe it or not, it is tilt and telescoping, but it telescopes out the furthest, I think, of any other vehicle that I've tested. So when you have longer legs and you're a taller individual, your seat goes back further, but not all the time does the steering wheel kind of come out just as far as you have to put your seat back. So what I'm trying to say is it was super adjustable, more so than I'm used to finding. And also a leather wrap steering wheel will come with the sport trim level and up like we have today. So that was pretty cool. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key. All of your buttons are located on one side of the key. You got lock, unlock, the button to pop the rear tailgate, or unlock the rear tailgate, I should say. And by the way, the unlock button is actually the Subaru logo in the middle, but it is all keyless entry with a push button start for the premium trim level and up. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake, and press that engine start button located just by the driver's right knee. And so once started up, gauges will do a full sweep. Tachometer is all the way to your left. Speedometer is on your right. There is that digital screen front and center to control what is on that screen. There are some steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel there, which is telling me outside temperature is 34 degrees. It is absolutely freezing. Of course, also in that middle section, you can see that SI drive as well. So that was pretty handy. You got trip A, trip B, of course. There's a small digital speedometer up there as well. And I actually kind of liked the gold hint to the outsides of the tachometer and speedometer too. Nice little accent piece when they probably could have left that white or gray or something boring. They added a little splash of color. So I kind of like that. So yeah, that's definitely working for me. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. There is a power moonroof optional on the premium trim level and up. So we got that today. I like that. Dual zone climate control for all trim levels across the board. You gotta love that. Wireless phone charger for the sport trim level and up. That's located just in front of the shifter there. That's pretty cool. Home light controls are gonna be optional. They're found just underneath of that auto dimming rear view mirror. Got a little compass in the upper right hand corner of that mirror too. I like how there's a gloss black finish surrounding the shifter here. I like that the shift boot has a nice little texturized finish to it with some gold stitched accents as well. That's pretty fancy. Just behind that, you got a couple cup holders, 12-volt power outlet. Then within the center armrest, there's actually a decent amount of space in there for the size of this vehicle. So definitely a big fan of that. I like the carbon fiber look on the doors as well, although that is definitely plastic. It's not authentic carbon fiber, but I do like the look of it. I like all the contrast stitching, all the gold contrast stitching found in the doors as well. So overall, this gets the job done. I don't have any issues whatsoever with the interior quality here. So anyways, now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen. It is a 7-inch infotainment screen for that base trim level. However, all other trims is going to give you an 11.6-inch portrait style infotainment screen. So either way, you get Bluetooth and audio streaming. Either way, you get Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. But for that bigger screen, it is wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. So that's kind of nice. You can check out your climate control settings up there, of course. You can check out your car statistics. I'm going to go ahead and press that real quick. And that's actually where you access X mode as well. So that's pretty cool. You can check out elevation information up there as well if you wanted to. That's kind of cool. Along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, there are actually 3 of them available. 4 speakers is going to come in that bottom base trim level. 6 speakers for all the other trims, essentially, premium trim level and up. But then there is an optional sound system for only the limited and wilderness. That's going to be a 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. So having said that, we do have the 6-speaker sound system with us here today. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today. And since Christmas is right around the corner, let's go ahead and turn on some Christmas music and let's test out the clarity of this one. It's okay. It's nothing crazy, but it gets the job done. It's an okay amount of bass. It's pretty good clarity. So it's a 6-speaker sound system. It's pretty much what you would expect it to sound like. So it's not bad. Not the very best, but it's not bad. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the Crosstrek in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board, letting you know who or what is behind you, which is always going to lead us into safety. And so let me first start by saying IIHS top safety pick. It's not an IIHS top safety pick plus, but IIHS top safety pick. That's still plenty fine right there. Front side current airbags do come standard. Driver's knee airbag up front as well. Also, a passenger seat cushion airbag. That's one you don't always get. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard. Subaru EyeSight. That's what Subaru names their advanced safety, of course. That gives you adaptive cruise control, pre-collision braking, lane departure and sway warning, lane keep assist, and automatic emergency steering as well. That's pretty cool. Then if you were to go with the limited trim level and up, that's going to add to that a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert and reverse automatic braking then as well. So overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the Crosstrek, this is the best all-wheel drive system in existence, specifically when it comes to snow. And it does snow here in Pennsylvania, so that is definitely something that you might want if you live here in Pennsylvania like myself, because it just goes the furthest, it goes the best in the snow of any other all-wheel drive system out there. Not saying that other all-wheel drive systems are good in the snow, they are, but this one's the best. That's what it was made for, racing in the snow. So anyways, Pretty darn good fuel efficiency for an all-wheel drive vehicle as well. 34 miles per gallon on the highway, and you get all-wheel drive. There's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I think the only thing I would change, because I kind of like the gauges too, because they have this splash of color. Honestly, I think the only thing I would change just to make this one a little bit cooler is to add some ambient lighting colors, maybe. Just maybe 8 or 10 ambient lighting colors. I would probably put it on gold for the interior of this one, just because it would match together with the contrast stitching in the seats pretty darn good. But other than that, this is a pretty solid vehicle for what it is. So let me know what you guys think of the Crosstrek in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff. If you wanted to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews. That is what we do here on this channel after all. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.
Singing this song, I see I was wrong. Today you